All right, so today we got a good one for you. We're going to be going through a couple more coming in. Always a couple minutes in. Going to be going through everything involved in creating your 2024 digital marketing plan. So basically, we're going to be talking about everything from today's market and what's working in it, and then we're going to be going through, basically every type of digital marketing option that there is out there, to basically make sure that you know what's available and you
Na
have a
escola,
plan
ela corre na escola.
we implement that for you and make sure you have a solid plan and your team is all on the same page. So let me just, all right, there we go. Okay. So I'm going to send this workbook out to you guys at the end. So we created something that is going to allow you to basically take what we talk about here, take your whole plan, and then it's very, very detailed. I'll show you at the end exactly what's involved in it, but it'll allow you to outline basically every month of the year, what exactly you want to do each month, how many leads you need to hit your goals, and basically everything in between. So there's a lot of good stuff in it. I'll show you at the end, but for now, we're just going to be taking notes on pencil and paper, or whatever you're comfortable with to get all the information down, and you can fill it out more formally once we're done with the webinar and you have a little bit more time to sit down. But what we're going to be covering here is we're going to be actually setting goals for this year. Sorry, people are coming in. So setting goals for this year and figuring out how many leads it actually takes to hit that target. So you'll set your revenue goal, what you want to go after, how many crews you want to get to, and then we'll talk about how many leads it'll actually take. And part of that, part of the workbook and spreadsheet that I'm going to give you will help you calculate it very easily too. But then we're going to be talking about 3 fundamentals to marketing success, everything about your website and how to optimize it for conversions in this year and beyond. And then basically the big picture of all the available online marketing channels that you can be tapping into, depending on your size of your business and what's needed. And then also the latest trends for marketing in 2024. And then again, we're going to be talking or creating an actual custom action plan that'll help you get to where you want to go. All right. So as I said, all I really ask is if you have a piece of paper or a blank Word document, Evernote, Apple Notes, whatever you're comfortable with, just something that you can write something down on, because there will be, like I said, we're setting goals here. We're going to be talking about what you think you should be implementing with the business and creating an actual plan. So anything, whatever you like taking notes with, if you could just get that out, that'll make it a lot easier, and then you'll be able to transition that into the workbooks later if you choose to. All right, and if you would turn off your social media, I know it's probably going off throughout the webinar, but this is the biggest webinar we do of the year. It's very lengthy, but my team's done a really good job, basically putting all this good content and working together with me to get everything set up properly for you. So the next, it's going to be a little bit more than 45 minutes. Well, yeah, to an hour and a half, around there, probably an hour-ish. There's going to be a lot of good stuff. So if you just give your undivided attention, I'd appreciate it. And to give you an idea of, my background and why you should listen to me and why it's worth, spending your time today with me. So I'm Alex Danner. I founded Fence and Deck Marketers. And then basically around 10 years, I've been doing digital marketing. And it's just what I've always loved to do. I've always been building websites, doing marketing, and I wanted to start an agency that was specific to just one niche. And I was already getting good results with my previous legacy agency where I would work with pretty much any type of business. And I would like working with fencing and decking, so decided to go that route. Done some good amount of fencing work in my lifetime too, especially on my farm where we have 250 acres, high deer fence. So putting that fence up in the mountains of Pennsylvania is always fun, along with fixing it constantly. But also, we started the Fence and Deck Mastery podcast. So if you're one of those people like me that likes listening to stuff while you're on the go or at the gym or whatever, we just got that going about a couple months ago, and we're going to be doing new episodes every week. And also these webinars here. This is the big one of the year, but the rest of them we do every single month. So if you're curious about the specific types of digital marketing, we have designated webinars for basically everything from websites, SEO, pay-per-click. So you can attend those, or you can see them on our website if you want to see replays. But through 2024, we'll be doing these webinars too. Oops. Oh, and one thing I forgot, if you want like little tidbits, we're trying to create content that's, accounts for anybody's, learning style, I guess. If you like it on social media where it's just really quick, we do 1-minute videos, reels and stuff like that. There's a ton of good stuff on there. you can get, really quick information. So definitely check that out if you're interested. But as it states, fence and deck marketers, we're only working with these types of businesses. We know there's other types or fencing and decking businesses that work with other types of services. So that's usually okay. But as long as you're doing fencing or decking, that's what we really focus on working with. And those are the type of companies we, tailor our strategies to. But all right, let's get into the thick of it for planning your marketing strategy. So the biggest thing is you really just got to set clear goals. And that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be thinking about what we want to hit for 2024. If you don't already know that, if you do know them, great. Then we'll be talking about, ways to get there and what's going to be needed to help you get the number of leads to reach those goals. But, for basically when you're planning goals, this quote I've heard before, it says success is goals, all else is commentary, by Brian Tracy. If you're not setting goals, it's just, you're basically just kind of hoping you luck out. It needs to be written down. You need to be having, taking the time to sit down, write them out, create a plan, because otherwise it's just kind of chatter, it's just noise. It's makes it a lot easier to not hit them or give yourself, the excuse to not hit them if you're not writing them down, creating that plan, telling your team about it. So that's what we want to do here. And that's where, we're hoping to accomplish. But if you're not creating goals, and I've definitely been there with my business, in the earlier days where it wasn't setting, goals. I was just kind of like, hey, I want to grow. I want to get more leads, more customers, but no specific numbers. It's kind of just like being, in the middle of the sea in a sailboat, kind of like Tommy Boy, the end of the movie, you've seen that. But, you're just kind of adrift. You're not actually getting anywhere. You need to have that sail to actually get you going. And then once you have that, these clear goals that you're going to be creating here is going to actually get those wind in your sails and help you build momentum with the business and, keep you on track because, as a business owner, I'm sure that stuff time just flies by. And if you don't have things set out, written out and, setting deadlines and things like that, a month goes by and you just feels like you just blinked. So that's what we're going to be doing here today. And to kind of hammer in the, the importance of, goals and how you set them. They did this Harvard study. So they interviewed graduates from Harvard, and they said 84% of them had no specific goals whatsoever. 13% of them had goals, but they weren't written down. And then 3% had clear written goals and plans to accomplish them. And I'm going to show you the results of those that are pretty mind blowing. So they said the people that had in that class that had 13% that actually had goals, but they weren't writing them down. They were earning on average twice as much as the 84% that had no goals at all. So they're making, quite a bit more, which was not overly surprising, but this one here definitely was. So that 3% who had the clear written down goals, they said were earning on average 10 times as much as the other 97% put together. So when I heard that, I still can't believe, but that's what the stats say. So that's what we want to do. And that's why we create these, workbooks and write down in our notes, exactly what we want to create because we got 1 month left basically till the new year. So excited to, plan this out with everybody. Okay. So this is going to be the first part. If you have that piece of paper, notes, whatever you have, I just want to I want you to write down your current snapshot. If you're not sure exact numbers, give some ballpark, numbers there, but your average monthly revenue, I know it's, it could be seasonal depending on where you are for fencing or decking. But the peak months, spring to summer, that's going to be more typically than around this time. But if you have an average monthly revenue, if you know your yearly revenue, divide that by 12, but write that down there. And then also the typical number of jobs you run per month. Again, these are averages for the whole year. And some other key metrics I want you to write down. So the average ticket price. So if you're writing, fencing or decking, put down the average cost of the jobs you're doing. And then if you're doing multiple services, you can separate it by service. And then I want to also know the average conversion that you have. So what you're actually selling and converting. So if you're doing, say 10 jobs, how many of those actually are leading to sales? Is it, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever it is. I've heard a bunch of different numbers, but put that down there too. Put the percentage down. And then also the number of trucks or crews that you have, put those down there too. And separate them out. If you got a fencing crew and a gate crew, or maybe you're doing fencing and also landscaping or doing fencing and decking, just separate those crews there too. And I'll just give you a couple minutes to write that out. All right. I hope there's enough time to get all that information down there. All right, so let's keep going then. Okay, so the next thing I want to think about, I know we're talking about 2024, but it's very useful to have that longer vision, say for 3 years, 5 years. For now, we're going to stick to 3 years. So basically what I would like to do is kind of think about where you want your business to be in 2026. Like if you wanted to, maybe you're at 500 a year or 1 million a year. I mean, are you wanting to double, triple that? Is it something where you just want, to keep it kind of steady? You're at a good size that you like. Everybody's different. So I want you to think about 2026, where you want to be annual revenue, like 3 years away from now. And also along with that, number of trucks. So put how many trucks or crews that you want to have at that time. A lot of times I typically see, I think like an average, maybe like 500 for fencing, 500,000 for each crew, something like that. But think about that, how many you'd like to have, whether using subcontractors, full-time people. And then the most important part of all this is thinking about why. So, we're not all on this, you're not coming to the webinar just because it's fun, because I know it's not that fun, but it might be interesting. But, you want to come here because you have an idea of what you want for your business, what you want to grow it to. So what I would like you to do is think about, exactly what you want out of that and why you want it. So like why you actually want to grow the business. What is it going to lead to? Is it something personal, your personal life, anything related to your family? Whatever that may be, just think about, why you're working so hard every day. What's the long-term vision and, why you actually want to achieve that. So I'll give you a couple more minutes to write that down. Okay. So hope I'm giving everyone enough time to write this down. Let me know if I am going too fast, but we'll keep on going. All right. So the big thing here is, you wrote down kind of where you want to go, or you're thinking about what you want to do for 2024. But at the end of the day, you can say that, say you wanted to do 100,000 a month or, 1 million a year, something like that. At the end of the day, we got to sit down and think about like how are we getting all these leads? I mean, if you're relying only on word of mouth, that's absolutely possible depending on, how long you've been in business and things like that, or the demand in the area or competition. But what we want to do here is think about, instead of kind of hoping that word of mouth, things that we can't really control are going to lead to these results. We want to be talking about ways that you can market your business to actually reach these goals. So say, we'll keep these numbers nice and easy since math is not my strong suit. Say the goal is 100,000 a month. That's what you want to do. So 1.2 million. And, say, I'll break it down for fencing and decking. So say the average ticket I typically hear, we'll keep it 5,000 just to make it easy with the math. Deck 20,000. That math right there, that would mean you would need 20 jobs that were averaging 5,000 every month. If it was decks, it would be 5 jobs. So by that math there, say you're closing at 50%. Say you're really good at, you have a really good closing ratio. If you're doing that and you're a fencing guy, that would mean you need 4 leads coming in every single month. Say you're closing at 30%. For fencing, that would be, again, not great at math, 66, something like that, I think, is how many you would need every month to reach that. If you're a deck company, around 17. And if my math is way off, let me know. It won't hurt my feelings. But that's basically, keep it easy. 40 leads per month is what you would need to get to 100,000 a month in revenue if you're closing at 50%. So that gives you an idea, especially, based on what you're currently doing. If it's less than that, you're going to need some avenue to increase that. All right. And write that down, however many based off your average cost, how many leads you think it's going to take. Just write that down there in your notes too. Okay. So now let's go into the actual marketing strategies that we can use for this year. So this is our accelerated growth model. I'm going to go in each one of these specifically, but basically the main components of this are to grow your business, you need to be able to drive leads, you need to maximize the conversion so they actually convert, and then you need to optimize the results. So you're continuously improving. The big things, when you're driving leads, you have organic, which is going to be your organic SEO. And organic SEO is going to be all about ranking in the organic on Google in the organic rankings. So not in the paid ads, be in the map pack, your Google listing, and then also the organic website rankings below that. So the big thing with that is you want to be ranking for whenever somebody types in a keyword that is going to, convert, or that's going to lead to some kind of lead. So, if somebody types in deck builder near me, fence contractors near me, or maybe they're looking for a Trex deck, they're going to type these keywords in, and you want to make sure that your website is ranking for them. You want to make sure the website's set up properly so you can rank for all these different keywords. That's going to be the organic side, and I'll go into more details with this here in a second. But the next is going to be your paid search. I'm sure probably most of you have heard of Google Ads, pay-per-click ads. Google ads, pay-per-click ads. There's also Google local services ads. You can also do Facebook ads. There's many different types of leads. The ones we do are those three I just named, Google ads, local services ads, and Facebook ads. Google ads, pay-per-click. So those show up at the top of the results. And those are kind of your standard ads that have been around forever. The local services ads are Google guaranteed ads. Those are pay per lead. So with those, you're only paying for actual leads that come in. You're not paying for just if they clicked on it, and they work really well, mainly for fence contractors because they have a separate category for fencing. And to kind of explain that, because it's kind of confusing. So basically, when you sign up for local services ad, you'll say, hey, I'm a fence contractor and you need to send me these leads, and I only want fence installation. I don't want fence repair. They have categories of leads that you can get. But if you're going for decking, if you're a deck builder, that's going to be looped under the general contractor category. So under general contractor, decks and patios is its own category. So it's kind of like you have fence installation, decks and patios is a category within general contractors. And the reason that's kind of a pain is anything that's deck or patio related, you're going to get a lead for. So if you don't want to do repairs, if you just want installs or new deck construction, then it can cause some problems there. I'll go into more on that here in a second. The database, you want to be collecting your leads. Any kind of customer that you have, you need to be keeping those in a CRM so you can email them later, text them later. But those are all, the ways that you're going to be driving leads. Next, you got to actually maximize the conversion. So once the leads come in, you got to be able to convert them. So, you could get the best leads, have the best ads, whatever. But if they go to a website that looks terrible, they're not going to convert, and you're just wasting your money on the ads. So the big thing is going to be the websites. Just having conversion set up properly. I'm constantly talking about conversion because it's so important. You need to have it set up properly for conversions because, say you get, out of 500 people a month, 20% are converting. You can very easily increase that just by having someone that knows how to, build a website for conversions. And then you double that number and you get a lot more leads just from that. And it tends to be just a one-time thing. So on top of that, you got to have your actual reputation needs to look good. You can't be having just a bunch of 1-star reviews. You need to be getting Google reviews. Ideally 30 or more is what I would expect, and needs to be above 4.5. It doesn't have to be all 5 stars, but you want to have it ideally like 4.7 to 4.9. 5 stars if you can get it to. But you want to be showing off those reviews on your website too. But if somebody types in your company's name on a Google, they're going to see your reviews on there, and they're going to judge you for that, and they're going to make a decision based off of that too. So automation. So you can use automation to follow up with leads too. There's a lot of ways to do this. You can use software like High Level to send out texts and emails. But you want to at the very least use some kind of automation to reach out to them. If you don't have an office staff that can constantly call them back, because, especially certain types of like Facebook ads, you're going to need to follow up more than some of the others. So it's really important to either use automation or have your office on point with, reaching out to them. And once you're done with that, once you're, set on conversions, you do need to be actually optimizing the results and checking out how you're actually doing and updating those results. So the big thing is you got to know what your total spend is for all your marketing. So the Small Business Administration recommends at least 5% of gross revenue spent on marketing. And, as you grow, you're going to need additional marketing. So, I know like the COVID years when everybody was just tons and tons of business, people got kind of used to that, and now the economy has slowed. So, people are more reliant on marketing, but you want to have your marketing budget set to what you want to hit. So if you want to grow to 1 million, that should be 4,000. I calculated this, 166 a month is what you would want to spend on that to reach that goal. Or at least that's what they recommend as a minimum. Also, your cost per lead is critical. You want to know how much you're paying per lead. As an example, say you're a deck builder, but you do deck staining, or you're a fence contractor, you do fence staining. If you're paying 50, 60, $70 a lead through Google ads, and you're making, a few $100s off the lead, is not going to make any sense, because it's going to cost you probably, 5 leads to actually get a job on average. So you're basically just lost all your profit by using that. But if you're using, new deck construction, new fences, you can definitely get a better cost per lead, which is going to make more sense to you. So, say you were getting like, right now we have for the local services ads for fence companies, we've seen like $53 a lead. So that's, if it takes you 5 leads to get a job, that's 250. And if it's a $5,000 fence, you have a good margin in there. So you got to know your cost per lead. Make sure, if you're working with an agency, that they know that, or if you're doing it yourself, make sure you figure that out too. And then the return. So the total return on investment is what you got to keep track of too. So how much money you're actually spending each month, and then compare that to your, actual revenue for that month, and make sure you're actually making a return. Because there's no point in doing all this marketing if you're not going to make any money. All right. So this is just kind of an overview of everything, just a little bit easier way to see it. Drive leads, maximize conversions, optimize results. Really, really important. So, all right. So what I want to see is, out of everything we just mentioned, where do you think you need to focus most? Because there's always room for improvement, and everybody's going to be at a different stage. Some might be already actively doing marketing, some might not have a website yet. So depending on where you're at, where do you think you need to focus the most on your business? So maybe you have an old website, it's 10 years old, it's not mobile responsive, or maybe you just don't have one yet. Maybe you're doing SEO, but you're not ranking where you want to. That would be a good one to focus on. Paid ads, maybe you're just not generating leads, or the leads are expensive. That's something you would want to optimize. Or maybe you're just not keeping control of your clients, like how many are coming in. You need a CRM to keep track of that. Those are just some ideas. I'll scroll back here so you can kind of see what that. But write anything down that you think you would need to focus on. Anything that could be improved on. All right, let's keep going. So these are all the strategies that I would recommend for fencing and decking. This is kind of all the ones that we offer. We have done testing to see kind of what works the best. And this structure right here, can get pretty much any fencing and decking business to a very, very large size. So I just want to go through these so you kind of know the different options and what we recommend. So first thing is you're going to have, well, they're a little bit out of order. First thing I would say is the website. You got to have the website first. That's going to be the hub of all your marketing, and it needs to be set up to convert. Excuse me. It needs to look better than competition. And what we've seen is without redoing the website, the rest of your marketing efforts are not going to work as well. So it's really important. And then next, I would say you got to go through your SEO. So this is going to be the best long-term strategy. This is where most of the leads are going to come from. There are some nuances to it. I know there's a lot of people out there that have gotten burned by SEO. And if you're in an area that's not highly populated, that can cause a lot of problems. But you need to be writing new content. You need to be optimizing the website. You're doing keyword research, and basically making sure that website is continuously updated. And I'll show you some more things here in a second. The free SEO audit, that's just something you need to be doing. If you need somebody to audit your website, we can certainly do that for you. But you want to be auditing the actual website and your SEO efforts to make sure it looks good and is going to get you the best results. Press releases are a great way that are kind of linked with SEO. So when you want to get your rankings higher, you can use press releases that will allow you to get more exposure, get more backlinks. Google ads, we already talked about that. That's a really big one. Local services ads, I'm going to talk about more in a second, as well as social media. So all the social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, those are the big ones that we usually use. But TikTok, if you can make videos, is a great one too. YouTube, there's tons of them out there, as we all know. And then Facebook ads is a really good strategy for becoming omnipresent. So people need to see your brand a lot of times before they're going to actually work with you most of the time. So using Facebook ads, they can continuously see your business and be more likely to reach out with you that way. All right, keep going here. All right, so out of this list here, where do you think, is there anything on this list that you think you're missing, you could be doing better, you'd like to add to your marketing, anything like that? Maybe you're just kind of curious about it. Write down anything that you think would be helpful towards your business, something that you're not doing that would be help you get more leads, make more money, or something that that you're already doing and could improve on. Siri. Oops. All right. Keep rolling along here. Okay. So this is what I want to show you specifically about conversions, conversion optimization with one of our clients. So basically, there's a lot of things that you can do to a website that's going to make it convert a lot better. A huge one, of course, you need the logo. Pretty much everybody nails that. And it's almost always in the top left. But you want to make sure that you have a phone number that's easy to see. We actually animate it so it blinks very slowly, so it kind of draws the eye. That's really helpful because you want to make sure no matter where you are on the page, as you scroll, it's gonna stick out. If it's especially it's somebody older, typically older people are gonna have more money and or common customers. So you want to make sure if they're not able to see very well, they can go through and find the phone number really easily. Also, some people don't want to actually reach out through through phone, so you don't have a contact form there. You can see these free estimate buttons, fence budget tool. If you're using My Salesman, you can do that too. But just have tell them what the page is about. This is a fence installation page. So top fence installation in Houston, surrounding areas is really going to be kind of how you want to lay out the pages. And then from there, you want to have plenty of content, 700, 800 or more words on the page that are focused around that keyword you want to rank for. And a review widget too. So having reviews on the bottom of the page somewhere where they can see them, have them linked to Google is going to be a really good idea because that's going to add another layer of trust versus typing them out yourself. And then they can also update automatically. Also photos on each page. So if it's a fence installation page, plenty of photos about the fences you've installed. Try to not use stock images if you can. If you have your own images, those are going to be best. But if your images were, taken on a flip phone from 2000, then, stock photos might be a little bit better. But really just the website's got to stand out. It's got to convert, but it's got to look better than competition too. All right. So as I was saying, the website is the hub. So really, no matter where you're doing marketing, if you're doing SEO, of course, they're going to land on the website. If you're doing Facebook ads, they can reach out to you through the Facebook form, but more than likely they're going to be going to your website regardless. And the same thing goes with offline. So maybe you have a billboard, or maybe you put signs on your fences or, put a yard sign for the deck, whatever. If they see that, they're going to just go to Google and type it in. So you want to make sure the website looks good and the website stands out and, assures them that they're just going to be judging you, judging a book by its cover, if you will. So you want to make sure it actually looks good and the business is represented well online. Okay, so I keep talking about conversions and I'll probably have some more slides in here about it, but I want to break down the numbers, exactly why it's so conversion or so important. So, say you have 100 leads and the conversion rate is 30%. You're not doing any follow-ups. You just kind of wait and then you call them when you have a time. So that's going to be about 30 book jobs. And then say your average ticket's 4,000, 100 leads times 30%, or sorry, 30 jobs times 4,000, that's going to be 120,000 that you're actually making. But if you actually take the time to convert, to optimize your website for conversions and say you're getting 70%, that right there using automated follow-ups, if you're answering the phone yourself as the owner and don't have a receptionist, this is a big one too. It can lead to a lot more conversions because they're going to reach out immediately. And 70% times that 100 leads with average ticket of 4,000 is going to be 280,000, and a much bigger difference and absolutely possible and will make a huge difference if you have the right structure in place with with inside your office with a receptionist, answering service, or if you're doing some kind of automated follow-ups. Okay, so I'm going to talk about some other ways we can really optimize for conversions. So these are the critical elements to enhance conversions. So I know we went over a couple with that website, but these are some other additional things you can do. A big one is going to be talking to your target avatar. So the ideal customer, rather than getting very generic on, thinking everybody's your customer. I know pretty much every fence or deck business owner that I've talked to will say they want to go after the high income areas. So it's not necessarily just anybody with a fence, but you want to have a target of exactly the type of customer you want. And think about, what their fears and frustrations are, why they should be choosing you, and put that into the website content, explaining, answering any questions they have, maybe they're worried about financing, or, their yard getting messed up when everything's installed. You want to speak to them through your website about these fears and frustrations. And a great way to kind of make them feel more comfortable is to use actual, real authentic images. So like I said before, you don't want to use stock images everywhere. If you have pictures of your team on the homepage throughout the website, actual jobs that you've done always is going to look better. And then using, video and multimedia. So basically, video is a great way, and you can kind of see it if you go to our website, deckfencemarketers.com. I have a video of each of our services that kind of explain it at the top. It's really just people like watching videos. So, I mean, if you're the only one that's talking about exactly what's involved in, a new fence installation, or maybe you have a video that's just explaining you and the company, talking about, how it got started and, this or that, or you have videos of testimonials, things like that, it's going to make them feel more comfortable, stay on your website longer, and be more likely to convert. And then the same thing goes with social proof. So if you have reviews that you're showcasing on the website, there's tools like Bird Eye, Review Buzz, there's a lot of other ones that you can show off your reviews. That's going to be huge too, because say they get to your website page, they're kind of looking around, deciding, if they want to give you a call. You want to make it that much easier by, showing them past customers and how happy they were. The number 5, the basics in order, getting the basics in order. We've already talked about that, the phone number, web forms, so we can kind of skip over that one. Calls to action. So, as you scroll through the page, rather than just having a contact form at the top, within the page, you can have calls to action saying, getting them to reach out, saying, looking for a free estimate, reach out to us today, things like that. You want to give them plenty of ways to reach out to you is kind of what it boils down to. And if you're doing any kind of specials or offers, we'll see clients do like coupons where they'll give like 1,000, 2,000 off a new deck, something like that. That helps just, drive more too, or more likely for them to reach out. And then mobile optimized, if you have a website that's not mobile optimized, it's definitely a problem, because it's like over 50% of people of all traffic is through mobile. So you gotta update that as soon as possible. You can use live chat. So if somebody wants to reach out and send a message to you, you can do that as well through a chat on your website. You just need to make sure somebody's there and can respond to them. Also booking online, we don't do a whole lot of that, but if you're using the right software, they can book online. And then make sure, this one's so important, the site speed is good. A slow website is just going to cause a million problems. It's people are going to bounce off it. They're not going to want to wait. Maybe they're in an area that's not the best service. They're just going to jump off it and go to the next one. So make sure it's fast. And then some people just want to communicate in certain ways. Not everybody wants to talk on the phone. Some people want to do a text or Facebook Messenger or email. So however they're reaching out to you, having the ability to, shoot them a text, communicate that way, if that's what they prefer, that's just going to lead to more, more conversions. All right. So, just to kind of reiterate the mobile friendly thing, I think most people know about this now, but right now, 7.26 billion people have mobile phones. So almost the entire world. And if somebody's looking for a local business, 3 out of 5 is going to be using their smartphone to do that. And then basically, if you're not providing a good experience to the user, 40% of people can go and jump to the competitor's site. So you just have to have it mobile friendly. It has to be optimized for conversions on mobile, because without it, you're just missing out on, more than half of the market. So here's a checklist, things that you can think about for your website, or if you need to build a website, if you hire a developer, whoever, make sure that they know this is a good checklist to get them to go through, because it's going to help basically convert people. Rather than just having a really pretty website, you want to make sure it's set up for conversion. So these are just a couple things you can, make sure that they know that developer's doing, for you properly. And real quick, while I'm thinking about it, if you can put a 1 in the chat if you have a website that's mobile friendly, and put a 2 in the chat if you just don't have a website. I'd be curious to know what everyone has. Everyone's being shy today. All right. All right. So let's see here. Okay. So the big thing is with your website, it's the main purpose of it is so it works for you. You don't want, it's nice to have a good looking website, but if it's not coming up in search, who cares? for the most part. So once you build a website, you need to be using, SEO to get it up ranked higher. And the big thing that you can kind of see where you're at right now is you want to look at the different where you're ranking, based off the different keywords you would want to rank for. So there's kind of a caveat with this. If you're searching basically from your office, if you type in deck builder near me and you're searching from literally your address, it's basically irrelevant because if you're not ranking there, I mean, I would be very, very surprised. The key is you want to be ranking, 5, 10, maybe 15 miles away. So if you're doing jobs, 5, 10, 15 miles away, search for the different services you have. Type in, if you're a deck builder near me, fence contractors, wood fence, vinyl fence, different keywords, the things you do. Type that in while you're kind of going around town and just see where you're ranking. That's going to give you an idea of where you are and what you need to improve. But to kind of give you an idea of like the importance of SEO and kind of how it works with Google and who's ranking where. So 71% of all the clicks are going to go to this map pack listing here. That's the map pack is these 3 listings here. And then under here in the organic website rankings, that's going to be 71%. And to get to these sections, you have to use SEO. So to kind of put in perspective, 71% of all the traffic is going to go to your organic listings or your SEO efforts. And then 67% of that is going to go to the first 5 listings. I know we have 6 here, but it's the first 5. So it's really, really important that you rank there, not just on the first page, definitely not the second page, but, in that top 2 is best, but the top 4 of the websites and then in the map pack is where you want to be. That's where most people are going to go. So it's really, really critical to be ranking there. So of course, yes, it does matter. Don't want to just use ads. And this is going to be exactly what you want to do to optimize the website for SEO. So basically, you want to make sure when you build a website or if you have a website, how you want to edit it is going to say, it's got to be set up with good content and have a good user experience. It's got to look nice. If you can use videos to keep people on the page, that's really good. That's a positive signal for Google. A really important thing is going to be having a separate page for each service. So as a fence contractor, as an example, you would want to have a separate page for fence installation, for wood fence, for composite, for if you're doing Trex fencing, privacy fencing, pool fencing, really blanking on some additional ones. I don't know why. Iron fence, ornamental iron, ornamental aluminum. Every specific type of fence should be a separate page on the website because people are going to type that into Google, not necessarily just fence contractors near me. They're going to type in, wood fence if they want a wood fence or vinyl fence if they want a vinyl fence. So you have to have those separate pages on the website. And then from there, you want to have separate cities for every single city that you're willing to do work in. So as an example, what we'll do is we'll say, okay, what counties do you work in? Like which ones are you willing to travel to? And then from there, we'll get a list of every single city in those counties. And then we'll sit down and make a list of priorities. So we'll say like, this is the number 1 city I want to do work in, most opportunity all the way to 20, 30, 40 different cities. And then once we have that list, we'll create a separate page on the website for each individual city. So say, I'm in Maryland, Westminster, Maryland, but say I wanted to go into Baltimore, even though I never really do. But, you go and actually type in, fence company, Baltimore, Maryland, or fence company, Columbia, Maryland, fence company, Frederick, Maryland, all these different cities that have a lot of opportunity. You'd want to have a separate page on the website for those. That's kind of how it works with that. And then make sure that content's unique. You don't want to copy the content. I see that fairly often. It'll be the same thing on every page. You don't want to do that. Put that keyword in the title. So the title is what shows up on Google in the results. So if you type in deck builder near me and you look at all the websites, that big thing that you click that says, the business name or whatever is there, that's your title that needs to have the keyword in it. Your H1 tag, that's your HTML header tag. That's got to include the keyword. The meta description, that's what's also shown on Google. So you have the title underneath that. It's, a little paragraph of text. You want to make sure that actually sells the click and gets people to go to your website. And this is really easy, but often overlooked. The name, the address, the phone number, put that in the footer of the website because that's what Google will use to link your Google listing to your website. Another thing, blogging. This is often missed too. You want to blog every single month, at least one post, but ideally two. So two different blog posts that's talking about whatever you want to, whatever you're trying to promote. So if you're a fence builder, having a post that's comparing, vinyl fence to wood fence, something like that, blogging every month. And then we already talked about the page speed, checking your page speed, going to, I think it's called, Google's got a website for Page Speed Insights. You can check your page speed there, and if you have problems, you just want to hire a developer to help you fix that. So that's kind of the on-site, on-page stuff for SEO. And like I said, I'm gonna have a checklist of all this stuff for you at the end because I know it's a lot of stuff, but you'll be in the workbooks that you have. Okay. This is just kind of what you want. Best case scenario is when you're going to Google and you're looking at your different areas or your different keywords, you just want to make sure you're ranking for the main keywords, deck builder. Also, you want to be ranking for the specific types of decks or specific services, like in this case, composite decks. But it's possible to rank in the map pack, the top there, and also in the organic websites. And if there was running ads, which these guys are, you can actually show up above here too. So the whole idea is you're kind of buying real estate with Google. You want to be showing up as much as possible because the more someone sees you, the more likely they're going to reach out to you. Okay, so this is just a couple more things on the SEO side. So we already talked about the title tag. We talked about the H1 tag. This is getting into the weeds for sure. You would want to have a developer of some sort or an SEO person that will understand this a little bit more if you're not sure. But H1, H2, H3, these need to include keywords. You need to be putting, naming your images when you upload them to the website. So, instead of just img1234.jpg, rename it to, fence-contractor-westminster-maryland.jpg. And then add an alt image tag with the same thing, fence contractor in Westminster, Maryland. And then ideally 1,000 words of content, but it could be a little bit less. It depends on competition, but 1,000 is usually pretty safe for all your pages. All right. So off page. So what we were just talking about there is on page, but your off page SEO is going to be a little bit different. And it's going to be more, related to your Google listing and how you get that ranked. So if you don't have a Google business profile right now, that's the first thing I would do as soon as you get off this call. And then the next thing you got to do is add citations, which are basically like Google will do a fact checker almost. So the way they want to check to see if your business has the correct information, like your name, your address, your phone number is all correct, they'll check these other websites like Facebook, Yelp, Home Advisor, and there's hundreds of them, and make sure that information matches up because they only want to show if it's correct. So make sure the citations are there. Build up reviews. We talked about that. Build backlinks, and then syndication. So using press releases, we talked about that there too. Backlinks. If you're not sure what these are, it's probably worth a YouTube video, but it's basically just a way to link from somebody's website to yours. And that's a way Google ranks websites, is they want to see websites that have backlinks to theirs. Honestly, this is a whole another thing to go through. I won't waste all your time with that one because it'd take a while, but you got to get backlinks and you don't want to use spam ones. They got to be good, legitimate links. Okay, so this is just kind of a wrap up for this. Your on-page stuff, everything with your Google business profile, your ongoing content, so publishing blog posts, and then using, press releases to actually syndicate that information, across the internet is really what you need to be doing. But that's just kind of a overview. All right, so let me know. You can put it in the chat if you want to, but anything that we were talking about that you might not be doing that you think you should be, put that as a note that you can do and send to a developer, your SEO team, or somebody that can update it. Put some notes that you can improve for your website. And feel free if there's anything that you want to stay in the comments, I can check that out too. All right. So we're going to be talking about Google Maps. We kind of touched on them already, but you got to be ranking here. We already saw that 45% of all the clicks go here by itself. And then, that's kind of, I guess I jumped the gun there, told you the stat anyways, but yeah, 45% of people will go to these 3 listings here. So it's really, really important to rank there. So of course they matter. And I'm going to show you basically what we do to get ranked there, some proven strategies that'll help you get ranked. The first thing is you got to, of course, you got to claim the Google listing. And once you do that, you want to optimize it, add all the information they want, which doesn't take a whole lot of time, but, use the right primary category. So if you're a deck builder, make sure your primary category is deck builder. Whatever you want the most of should be your primary category. So maybe you're fencing and decking. If you want more fencing jobs, put yourself as a fence contractor. If not, make yourself a deck builder as the primary, but always include both of them. You can have secondary categories. Custom photos, upload those, rename them to include the different keywords in there. Have a business description that's optimized with keywords. Put all your services in there. You can list out all those. You can also add products that actually are the services. That's a way you can help yourself out too. We talked about the citations. That's what this crazy drawing is here. So all these different websites, you want to be adding to there. There's tools that make it easier to do that, like Yext. So if you want to save a bunch of time, you can pay a tool like that. You just have to pay monthly for it. Reviews. So reviews just seem to continue to get more and more important. You don't want to just get, 10 reviews and stop. You want to get 30 or more in every single week, ideally getting a new review and doing whatever it takes to get more because it's so important. Typically it takes a little bit, borderline being pushy to get more reviews. So making sure you're calling them and texting them, asking them to leave a review, helping them through the process if they're having problems. You absolutely have to be doing that. And then the on-page SEO, we talked about that because in the map pack, I'm going to scroll back here. So ranking here is a combination of your website and your Google ranking and your Google listing. So to rank in the map pack, it's not just about making your Google listing nice. You have to have your website listing all the services on it too and optimized properly. Okay, so here's a little checklist I'll just leave here for you. Again, it's going to be coming out to you in the workbook that I'll send with the recording, but kind of look through this, give you an idea of questions to ask yourself if you think there's anything that you need to be doing or that you're not doing, that will help you move your business forward. All right, so next thing, talked about SEO. Now we want to be talking about paid marketing opportunities. So, just as we said, 45% or 71% go to the organic. The rest of that is going to ads. So some people click on the ads, some people don't, but I can promise you they do get leads if you're doing it properly. But the first one I want to talk about is going to be the local services ads. Let me see something here. Yeah, I'll explain these here in more. Local services ads and then Google ads. I got some slides specific to these, so I'll go through them individually. But they do drive a positive ROI. I was telling you guys in the beginning, $53 is legitimate cost per lead for LSAs for fence companies. So, if you're 20% conversion, $53, that's 260 something is what you're paying for a new fence job, which I'm sure everybody would be happy to do. So if done properly, they absolutely can bring you a strong ROI. But on the Google search ad side, so let me go back to there. I can show you the difference here. So these are the Google search ads here. These are the Google local services ads or Google guaranteed ads. But on this slide, what I want to talk to you about is the Google search ads. There's a lot of ways that you can get into trouble with this. I just saw Randy said you got to pull teeth to get reviews. Yeah, I don't think I've ever not heard that, to be honest. That's like the number one problem I hear. It's very tough for people to get reviews, and it takes so much very coordinated effort to get them consistently and a lot of hand holding, quite frankly. But for the search campaigns, pay-per-click campaigns, a big thing is you want to have multiple ad groups. So somebody might set up I see this very common. It's very common. You're running fence ads and you're trying to get vinyl fence leads or wood fence or fence installation versus fence repair. And then everything's grouped onto one ad group and it's all going to one page. That's a huge issue because if somebody types in vinyl fence into Google and they click on your ad, they're looking for a vinyl fence. They want to go to a page that's talking about vinyl fence. And if you send them to a home page that says, yeah, we're, ABC Construction and we do fencing, decking, and all these other services, or maybe you're just fencing and you're talking about everything else, it's going to be less likely they're going to convert. They're going to click around on your website when all you want to do is fill out the form. So the idea is you want to have landing pages and ads that are specific to those keywords to basically to make it easier to convert those different to get conversions. So If you don't have a strong offer, that makes it harder too. There's got to be some kind of strong call to action that's going to get them to click. The landing pages, like I said, I can't talk about that enough, because if you're running search ads, you don't want to go to a page where they can click around different pages. You want to send them to a page that's just what they're looking for. A huge phone number on there, a contact form, and can't let them leave the page without, clicking off of it or actually reaching out. So really important to have these separate landing pages that are almost separate from the main website. Like, they're not going to have the same header. They just should have the logo, the phone number, and then a contact form, and then, the information to help sell it too on there too. Also, if you're not setting up tracking on your ads and not setting up conversions properly, you're going to have a huge issue. So I've seen ad campaigns where it's like $5 per conversion, and they're like, I'm doing great. They're so cheap. If you see something like that, it's a guarantee that it's something's messed up. The conversions aren't set up properly, or they're just set it up to like get a click, and that's a conversion. You want to be using a tool that actually tracks it if a contact form was submitted or a phone call was clicked, and there was actually a call that went on. So we use What Converts to do this. There's also other ones like CallRail, but you got to be sending information back to Google that actually tells them it was a legit conversion. That's how you're going to get better over time. And this is really what we see a lot. There's a lot of general marketing agencies out there that if you don't have the right landing pages, the right offers to convert, fencing or decking leads, you're going to run into problems inevitably. They can figure it out over time, but having a general marketing agency, it's going to be tough to, have the right content on the page to convert them. All right. So this is one of my favorites, the local services ads. So the deal with these is they are pay per lead. So I mentioned in the beginning, if you go there and say, I'm a fencing company, I only want fence installs, that's what you should only have to pay for. You can also tell them where you want them. So say you only want them in a couple counties, you can tell them that exactly. And if they send you a lead that's not within those counties, or say you wanted a fence install only, and they sent you a fence repair, you can dispute those leads, or you can have someone like us dispute them on your behalf, and you get your money back. So you should only be paying for the leads that you actually want, versus the pay-per-click. You're going to get clicks for all kinds of stuff. They do require a verification process. So to get Google guaranteed, like you'll see here, you do need to do a background check, which is pretty painless. It's usually really fast. And you also need to be asking reviews through here. That's going to help your rankings. You need to be entering the data into their platform. So putting their phone number, their name, any notes that you have on them. You need to be managing the leads, like booking them, archiving them. That's really important, because without doing that, you're not going to show up as often. But the big thing is, you're just not going to have to pay if it's not a legit lead. So it's really a no-brainer for all fence companies. For decks, again, it's a lot more spotty. But I think they're going to come out with these specifically for deck builders here soon. I'm praying they are. So this is just another checklist. Like I said, we'll be sending this out, but here's just some questions to kind of ask yourself. What can you be doing differently? What do you think you might be missing out on? Trying to get an idea of what can, be improved and move your business forward. Yeah, I just saw it, Randy. I saw your message again. Yeah, giving discounts. That's a good way to do it. But I've heard that too. I feel like a lot of times it comes down to somebody that just doesn't know how to figure it out, or they just don't care, I guess, is part of it too. It's almost like, you have to try to text and call and do what you got to do, but it usually takes a lot of follow-ups to get those reviews, because people that just don't care. And if they just spent, $20,000 on a new deck and they're offered like $20-$50, I don't know what you're offering, but it seems like people just care less once they already spent that much. But yeah, it just takes a lot of manual effort. All right. So just write these down. If you have anything you learned from here, anything that kind of surprised you, if you have anything that stuck out, feel free to share that too. But write anything down in your notes, which if there's anything with the paid ads that you think you'd like to be doing, just make a note about that. All right. Okay. So next thing we're gonna be talking about is social media. So if you're not active on social media, I'll show you why it's important. It's going to lead to more referrals. So if you're posting consistently, you're going to get more referrals. People are going to refer you more if they see your nice work and it's popping up on their feed. Also more repeat business. If there's other services you offer and they need something else, they can reach out to you that way. As we all know, tons of people, basically the whole United States, I think, is on social media. 4.48 billion users, and every user has an average of 135 friends. So there's a lot of people they can share it with, and people are obviously just addicted to it. So 6 to 9 times every day they're going on there. So just check, are you setting these up? Just ask yourself that. You have Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram. We post on pretty much all of those. We do TikTok too. Are you getting engagement? Is there people you can invite to the page, friends or family? And then, updating them every month, or sorry, every week, typically 3 to 4 times is what we'll do on your behalf, or that's what we do for our own post too. All right. So next thing is you got to be tracking all this stuff. So it's the least fun thing, I guess, unless you're an analytical type person, but you got to be checking your ROI, seeing how many leads you're getting per month, compare that to what you're spending. So having some kind of tool, if you're using Job Nimbus or Service Titan, CRMs that can help track that stuff is really important. Also, Google Analytics. If you don't have that installed on your website, absolutely you want to do that to see the traffic. You want to be checking your rankings for all your keywords. You can use SEMrush, Local Falcon. There's a bunch of them out there to track your rankings. Call tracking tools, like I was mentioning earlier, CallRail, What Converts. Those will allow you to track your conversions and see how many leads you're actually getting. You can categorize your leads, saying like, hey, this came from SEO, this came from paid ads, this came from social media. And then that'll allow you to see, how that's depending on how much you're spending on each, if you're getting a profit. And then, we talked about that with the landing pages. Okay, so we already went through this, the accelerated growth model. So driving leads, maximize conversion, optimizing results. I wanted to, and like I said, these are all going to be sent to you as checklists. So you'll be able to see these. I'm going to go over them here in a second to show you what you'll see in there. But you'll have a checklist to, sit down, ask yourself, ask your team to have an idea of what needs to be done. Is there anything you can update to improve your marketing? So we'll have checklists to send to you for your website's conversions, for your SEO. We'll talk about Google Maps. You have your checklist for Google Maps, for all your paid online marketing too, for social media, the tracking tools that you're using that are going to help with your ROI. If you're using email or any kind of marketing automation, there's one there for that too. So all of these will be sent to you in a second. But before I keep going, if you have any questions about that, any kind of help you're looking for, or any questions, or looking for an audit of your website, feel free to just put "let's talk" in the comments, and can talk to you that way. And if you have any, if you're kind of wondering how this all works, or wondering about any specific types of results and kind of what might be related to your business, if businesses that's similar to your size, you can check out the website to see some case studies and testimonials, things like that, of clients that have gotten good results using digital marketing. It's just on our website. There's a case studies button, a testimonials button. All right, so we're kind of winding down here, but what I want to see is, what are your top action items? So what are the top things you want to be doing? If you have more than 3, great, but list out, what you think is going to be most important that you should be doing to hit your goals. Is it, you need to be starting LSAs, which I would highly recommend everyone doing, especially the fence contractors. Maybe you need to be doing social media. Maybe you want to do Facebook ads. If you don't have a website that's optimized, that should be at the top of the list. Better SEO. Maybe you're not getting the rankings you want. So just list out the top actions that you want to do. All right. Okay. So these are just some of the things we've covered. I know we went through a lot. Hopefully, you were able to follow along. It didn't go too fast, but you will have the recording regardless. But what we basically covered, we need to set clear goals. We saw the importance of that, through that Harvard study. Setting clear written goals is huge. Set those for the year. Realign all your KPIs and tracking. So you want to make sure what's working with your marketing, so you can make sure what needs to be improved on, or what you need to add, things like that. We mapped out a plan, put together things that we want to do. Hopefully you wrote some notes down of what you think would help you get to where you want to go, and put the budget in there. I'm going to show you in a second here, how to calculate that easily, but we wrote down our budget, what channels, marketing channels, the trends that are working right now. But the whole idea, we want everyone to have huge success for 2024 and beyond. So that's why I'm hoping through this webinar, we're able to create some of these or plan out some of these goals. And let me show you kind of how this works with the workbook. So everybody will get this, but this is kind of the marketing plan that everyone can use. So here you can kind of see, different things, your goals, your targets, anything you want to do with website conversions. You can see the whole list of different options, at least that we recommend for your business. And then this is kind of what we're calculating: your annual revenue goal, your monthly revenue target, average ticket value, and then trying to figure out how many leads you need to convert each month. Calculating how many leads you need based on how your average ticket, and coming up with the ways to actually generate enough leads. Here you'll see, these are the goals, listing these out, revenue, how many book calls, transaction values. These are all the questions we were asking. And, some more information kind of talking about your messaging. And this is a really important one, nailing down your customer avatar. So really trying to figure out who exactly you want to work with. You can see just some examples here, people that are 35 or older, homeowner, could be typically female. They are married, their annual household income is a certain amount. These are just some options that you can go through. But once you have this avatar filled out, that's when you can write your website content around that. Here's some things kind of clear on your business, why people should choose you, what you're doing that's unique. That's going to allow you to put that content on the website too. Any kind of benefit that you provide that people would resonate with. I don't know how many people are doing fast same-day service, but these are just examples. Great service guaranteed. This is just some things to show you how to optimize your website a little bit better. Some conversion elements, basically just outlining all that. Your KPIs, this is all going to be here. Your call tracking, how to generate your cost per lead, how many people are visiting the website. These are all those checklists I promised you. So you can put check off all these as you go through the list to see what you're missing. You see a lot of extensive stuff on here. But I wanted to, give you a resource that would allow you to, go through and plan out your year. Because I know it's impossible to do everything while you're on a webinar with me, but the hope is, you can take your notes and kind of, rather than going through all this while I'm talking, you can kind of get a understanding of it and then go through this and kind of pick through it and see what works best for you. Yep, you can see here the top 3 marketing initiatives you can put on there. Talk about all the paid marketing companies, PPC. It's a lot of stuff on here. So feel free to go through this. It'll probably take a little bit, but we spend a lot of time going through it. And then once you're done with that, we got another bonus material. So as I was saying before, where you want to figure out what you want to get to, what dollar amount, you can say 900,000. And then it'll basically update your entire thing, your entire setup here. So it'll calculate all this stuff for you. So based on that, you can see, your percentage of marketing, how much you want to budget for each year. And then you can see your cost per leads too. So your pay-per-click, these are just examples. How much you're paying per click, how much the transaction value is there. That's going to allow you to see that. And then this is going to be a way to plan out every month of the year. So, for pay-per-click, for email, social media, SEO, you want to plan out what your priorities are, because it's going to be impossible to go after everything all at once. So you can say, hey, I want to go after fence installation, or maybe you want to really promote vinyl fence. Then you can lay out your entire, strategy month by month. And we have these separate for fencing and decking, by the way. So there's just 2 here. Also, if you want to do any kind of email marketing, doing any kind of promotion, send those out and do 1 a month, outline that way. Same thing with fencing. You can do that there, fencing and decking specifically. So these are just some offers that, you can go after. So this, you can see it's a lot of stuff, but, we're trying to be, very extensive. So you'll have basically everything you need to really sit down and plan it out. And I think if you follow these, closely, and you have your team, if you have your team on board with everything and they understand the plan, you'll at least have this document to go back to and make sure you're hitting your goals. So like I said, we'll be sending those out with the replay. And all right. So if you have any questions, if you have any questions about marketing for your business, feel free to reach out. We do everything we discussed, of course. for the most part. And websites, SEO, Google ads, Facebook ads. We do a lot of different marketing, and can help have a lot of clients that are of different sizes that we can certainly talk with you and see if we can help you out too. So if you have questions, feel free to reach out through our website or give us a call. If you want to go on social media, again, this is the easiest way to get little tidbits on the go. If you're big on any of these, just check these QR codes out, and that'll take you right to our social media pages. And we've been ramping this up quite a bit. So there's a lot of little videos you'll see me doing, just giving a minute to a minute and a half, different advice or giving you information on things that we see.